explaining physics in heels. Hello, welcome to my new podcast. I am Professor Diva, and this is Professor Diva's Private Tutoring. I am currently jet-lagged. I am at my sister's place in Belgium, and I discovered I have so much free time now, I don't know what to do with it. And I always edit my videos greatly. I believe that a lot of value comes from clarity, and clarity comes from editing your videos. And I realized I don't really give my followers a chance to just interact with me as I am, without any editing, without any sort of lights, any costumes. So, welcome. How would you like to spend some time with me, one-on-one? Let's do it. So, welcome to my podcast. I'm just gonna talk about whatever comes to mind. I'm just gonna make yourself comfortable. Grab a hot drink. I am currently on my sister's really comfortable couch. I am enjoying a very cozy blanket, and let's just start talking about things. I was thinking today's episode should be about science, because there's so much to science that people don't really talk about. And I'm not just passionate about physics, but I'm very passionate about science in general. See, I'm already getting very worked up. You can tell by the sound of my voice, or if you're watching this on YouTube, by how much I'm using my hands. Science is a brilliant thing. We as human beings, we are organically curious. We always wish for more. We want more. We want more money. We want more love. We want more knowledge. Science was born out of a human endeavor to look for more knowledge, for more sense. Because it's almost like we have a faith in the universe that there is sense out there, that there is something for us to uncover, for us to discover and to learn about. It's a really powerful thing to have this blind faith that as a scientist, you can know more about the universe. I mean, imagine this. What if we lived in a world that had no sense whatsoever, where nature did not follow any patterns, any clean behaviors, right? It would be infuriating. It would be heartbreaking, because we as humans, as I said, we genuinely believe that there is sense out there. And that is what science is. Science is the instinct we as humans have to wake up every day and to say, I want more. And that's also why scientists are so passionate about science. And that's because it reminds us of love. Arguably, it is a form of love, right? When you love someone, you want more of that person. You want to spend more time with them. You want to get to know them better, right? Isn't it fascinating? And again, I'm getting worked up. Isn't it fascinating how knowledge and love are intertwined, right? When you love someone, or when you have strong feelings for someone, you want to learn more about them, right? Asking questions, inquiring, learning about that person is a form of affection. It is no coincidence, as people say, to know is to love, right? Knowing Me, Knowing You by ABBA, the song. I adore that song by ABBA. I think it is one of my favorite breakup songs of all time. I think it is my favorite breakup song of all time. Knowing Me, Knowing You by ABBA is to me, the most brilliant vision of breaking up, of splitting up I've ever encountered. It is because all breakup songs tend to have this very dramatic, very emotional view of breaking up, right? You hurt me, and you are a douchebag for hurting me, and I'm gonna tell you how much you're gonna miss me, and you're gonna feel sorry. Whereas Knowing Me, Knowing You by ABBA is after the person has made peace with the fact that they need to break up, right? They say in their lyrics, breaking up is never easy. I know, but I have to go. Knowing me, knowing you, it's the best we can do. Isn't that remarkable? Isn't that sophisticated, right? To say, breaking up is never easy. I know. That's one thing that we tend to overlook in a lot of breakup songs. This idea that the other person also has feelings of their own. It's not that you're just breaking up with them. It's that you are inflicting pain on another person. And, sometimes there's no way around it, but just acknowledging the fact that you realize you're inflicting pain on the other person can be very powerful. Breaking up is never easy. I know. But I have to go. Powerful. So, that's perhaps why we as scientists get so heated about science. And that's because, to us, knowing more about nature isn't just about feeling good about ourselves or our minds. It is about honoring this love that we have for the world, for knowledge, for curiosity. It is to do science means to love the world you were born in. And that's very powerful. So, actually, what is science? And that's a very good question. A lot of people misunderstand what science is, but there's just one word that perfectly sums up what science is. And that is, can you guess? I'm gonna give you 3 seconds. I've already given you enough time. Experiment. All science is experiment. Science is a field that develops new knowledge using experiments. If a field doesn't use experiments, it's not a science. As simple as that. Physics, as we know very well, is of course built on experiments. Look at anything. I'm a particle physicist. I study particle physics. Particle physics utilizes large colliders. So those accelerators where we accelerate particles and we make them bump into each other and destroy one another, and in that destructive process, new things come out. And those new things are exciting. They're new knowledge. So particle physics is built on experiment. Physics is built on experiment. Everything in physics is built on experiments. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. So physics is a science. Chemistry is also science. Everything in chemistry is built on experimentation. Biology, same thing. Political science is not a science, even though it has the name science. It has the word science in the name. It's not a science. I'm very sorry to say. Political science is not a science. Computer science is not a science. Yes, computer science is very technical, but it does not use experimentation. You can't perform an experiment on a computer. A computer is a human invention. You're not discovering nature. What you're doing is you're making something more efficient. And that's the realm of engineering. Engineering is not science. Efficiency is not a quality in experimentation. So, political science, not a science. Psychology, that's a tricky one. In all sincerity, that's a very tricky one. Psychology utilizes experiments, but there's a lot of areas where certain things cannot be fit into an experimental setup, right? The subconscious is a very difficult thing to study in an experiment. So psychology, I personally am not sure whether it is science or not. Not that I discredit it, solely because I just don't have enough exposure to psychology to know exactly how much experimentation it uses. So now you know that science is experiment. I am just checking. Oh my God, we are doing well. We still have storage on my phone. Yay! So science. How did I fall in love with science? And this is my story of how I became a particle physicist. First of all, I hate those people that say, when I was 4 years old, I looked up to the sky and I realized I saw the stars, and that's when I knew what I wanted to do in life. I wanted to be up there. Every single time I hear one of those stories, I'm like, ugh! I despise those childhood stories. And the reason for that is that every single year, I ask myself, am I still passionate about physics? Because guess what? Every single year, I discover a new side to physics. Are you telling me that I was supposed to fall in love with the one thing I'm supposed to do for my whole life when I was little? No. Physics is so broad and varied, and high school physics has nothing to do with college physics, which has nothing to do with grad physics, and so on. I am rediscovering physics with every new field I encounter. Outside of my classes, when I started doing research, that was a whole new side to physics. When I started teaching physics, that was a whole new side to physics. And so when someone asks me, when did you fall in love with physics? It's a very complicated question, because in high school, in 9th grade, I did suddenly developed very strong feelings for physics. Like just doing those physics problems was exciting, was thrilling to me. It was, Energy wasn't just a formula I could apply on paper. It was suddenly a concept, this idea that there's a sense of a fluid in the whole world that cannot disappear. It just moves from one person to another and from one object to another. That was thrilling to me. But then I went to college, and in college I discovered a new side to physics, which was the more analytical, calculus-based side of physics, which was absolutely gorgeous. I remember feeling so thrilled when I had to do those computations where you cancel differentials and derivatives, and I remember that was so exciting to finally have a very rigid framework. It was beyond painful. My first physics class in college, which was honors mechanics, that was atrocious. It was so difficult to learn the new abstract language of analytical mathematics, but it was powerful. And in grad school, I rediscovered physics all over, so I really have no big bang moment in my life where I said, yep, I'm gonna do physics. And it's very healthy for me to not have a moment like that and to not hold on to one single moment where I fell in love with physics, because every year I ask myself, do I still want to do physics? Because I would despise to do this out of social pressure, out of prestige, out of desire for fame. I want to do physics because I love physics greatly, because it is the one thing in this life that makes me shake with passion. It is the one thing that satiates me, and that's because of my curiosity. My number one quality is my curiosity. That is, everything in my life is driven by my curiosity. My love for literature, driven by curiosity. My love of physics, driven by curiosity. My love of dancing, driven by curiosity. And so physics is the one field in this life that I've encountered that satisfies or satiates that curiosity of mine the best. And that's because physics takes nothing for granted. Physics is the purest form of science. And that's a bold statement. That's a very bold statement, but I do stand by it. Physics is the purest form of science. When we think science, as I said, we think experiments. So we think studying things in nature. When you study something in nature, you always have to go very fundamental and deeply. Energy. If you use energy in your life, you should ask yourself, what is energy, actually? What is this one concept that I use so much? And that is where physics blossoms. Physics doesn't take the concept of energy for granted. Physics asks itself, what is energy actually? What is it in energy that can tell us so much about the world? And that particularly is where particle physics, so my field, blossoms. I adore particle physics because it is the most fundamental form of physics, which is itself the most fundamental form of science. Particle physics is physics on the smallest scale possible. And the smallest scale possible is the particle scale. That's why I love particle physics so much, because it satiates my curiosity fully, because I can look at the smallest part of matter and start uncovering those big mysteries about mass and energy and matter and everything by starting with the fundamental smallest unit. And that's inspiring. That is what knowledge is, right? In order for you to start reading books, you first need to learn the alphabet. That's the fundamental part. That's the unit. That's the particle. The particle of language is the alphabet. So, in that regard, I love particle physics because it is so fundamental, because it is, to me, the purest form of physics, which is the purest form of science. My God, how did I end up talking about why I love particle physics so much? I guess we'll never know. But yeah, so I did become a scientist and a physicist because I really liked physics. And it's interesting, I always thought that actors were very cool. Sociologists were very cool. Writers were very cool. I don't know, name something else. Not politicians. I'm sorry. But I always thought there were other areas in the world that were so incredibly cool. I always thought physics was not cool. I still loved it nonetheless, but I personally didn't find it glamorous because it was the thing that I was doing, right? it just felt normal to me. And then I discovered the fact that so many people find physics glamorous, find physics thrilling, exciting, but also quite, how do I put it, mesmerizing. There's a real poetic quality to physics that people are huge fans of, even though they're horribly intimidated. The moment I discovered that, I realized, wow, I should not feel nerdy or, I don't know, uncool because I do physics. On the contrary, I should feel glamorous. I should embrace the glamour of knowledge. And that's something that we don't really embrace when we portray science. We tend to portray science in such a boring way, right? Think of anything from Frankenstein to the Big Bang Theory to Oppenheimer. We always portray science in the same utilitarian, almost like manual labor way. When science, as I said, is glamorous, we just don't portray it. We need to portray scientists as being awkward, strange people that are asexual, and I'm going to come back to this point, because otherwise science is too intimidating, when in reality it is glamorous. Understanding things like particle physics is so glamorous, and people acknowledge that. It's just Hollywood that feels intimidating and almost petty. It's almost like Hollywood just said, I don't understand physics, and so instead of actually respecting you guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get back at you because you know something I don't. And the way I get back at you is by portraying you in a bad manner. And I despise that. Checking my phone again. We're still good on storage. Whoa! I have atrocious storage problems. Atrocious. That's because I film a lot of things and I always forget to delete old footage. And so, would you look at that? My phone wants me to record this podcast. Way to go! What was I talking about? I was talking about, the glamour of physics. Right. So yeah. So it was really cool. I used to be very intimidated by people that were doing acting or sociology or classics, things like art history. I thought that those were really, really, really cool. And then whenever I talked to those people and I told them that I was physics, they were like, oh, whoa. They were always telling me the same bits, like, I could never do that. You must be really smart. Or a lot of people told me that they failed physics in high school. So that's when I realized that I should not hide my scientist part, my physicist part, in order to feel more Hollywood-esque. I should embrace it, and I should actually discover a new form of glamour, and that's the glamour of having a working mind. So don't be ashamed. At this point, Hollywood does nothing properly. At this point, Hollywood portrays nothing properly. Hollywood is just a never-ending regurgitation and recycling of cliches, of images we have seen a gazillion times, including the asexual physicist. Come on. We're physicists. As scientists, we are still human beings. We're still human. We still have sex. Shocking, I know, but we still have sex. Are you telling me that I'm supposed to believe that no scientist ever has sex because they're beyond that, because they're above that, because they're better than that, because they have ascended this physical realm of human beings? They don't need to eat, they don't need to drink, they don't need to have sex. They're better than that because they're smart. Come on. Sex is also knowledge. Are you telling me sex is supposed to be a dumb activity? To know how to have sex is one of the best forms of knowledge. Mark my words. As a scientist, you should be excited about sex. It should be exciting to learn about something as human as having good sex. Right? You can respect nature, but you can respect your sexual partner? No. Yeah. You know what? I like the fact that I'm not editing this podcast. I really like it. I feel like I'm talking to you a bit more openly. I feel like it's a bit nicer. What else? I don't know what else I should talk about. Should this be a good enough first episode? I feel like I've covered, what time is it? Oh my god, 20 minutes or so. That's fun. How many minutes did I actually cover? Wow. We are at a 20-minute mark. So, I guess this was the episode for today. This was Professor Diva's private tutoring. I talked about a lot of things. I don't remember one single thing I talked about, but I hope you enjoyed your time with me because I enjoyed my time with you. So I will see you next time. Get cozy, get funky, and in the meantime, let's talk, let's chat, get in touch with me. I love interacting with all of you. I don't get to respond to all of the messages, but I still love and adore every single time one of you writes me. So let's keep in touch. Is that the phrase? I'm looking on the phrase. I'm still jet lagged. Well, cheers.